Cleveland Cavaliers barely eke out a win against the New York Knicks, defeating them 104 to 101. The fourth quarter proved to be too much for the Knicks. They allowed 43 points in the fourth quarter, and their double-digit lead crumbled. The Cleveland Cavaliers have an issue where it's more than just Isaiah Thomas. I don't think Isaiah Thomas is going to be the one to fix this issue. There are too many holes in terms of their defense, in terms of their intensity, the way that they play. You saw in the third quarter, Tyronn Lue benched all the starters and allowed the bench to play. And the bench essentially turned the momentum, kind of stemmed the tide, and gave the Cavs a few things to work with, where they were able to bring back the starters, and the starters were able to get close. And if you want to really boil down the game to one thing, it was basically Kyle Korver got hot. He scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. The Knicks players showed their inexperience by allowing the Cleveland Cavaliers to get back into the game with the three ball. If they simply would have just defended the guys off of the three, not jumping, high hedge, switching on certain things, they essentially could have won the game. But you can't allow one guy to get 19 points in the fourth quarter. Like, that's ridiculous. So that's just the youth of the Knicks. In terms of the Cleveland Cavaliers, though, they say, you don't believe in moral victories. Well, this was a Pyrrhic victory. And a Pyrrhic victory, for those who don't know, you won, the battle, but you lost something mainly important. And I think this victory over the Knicks caused the Cleveland Cavaliers to lose something very important. They're not that good. They have great players, or they have great players. You can't say that they don't have great players. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Jay Crowder. Coming into the season, everybody kept talking about how this is going to be a great team. This is going to be the deepest team LeBron's ever played with. This is going to be the best team he's ever played on. And they didn't perform how they were supposed to. Now they're saying they're not that good. But they have a great cast. Even with the injuries to Tristan Thompson and to Isaiah Thomas, they have a great team all around because they have LeBron James. They have so many players that could draw a double team with LeBron, Love, Wade. I mean, the list goes on and on. The bench is formidable. That being said, they won a game, but they weren't supposed to win this game. And the fact that they weren't supposed to win this game and they won it gives them false confidence. And that's the problem. That's where they're losing because they're winning one game. They're going up in the stands a little bit. But mentally, they're still in that facade that they're a great team. They're not a great team. They shot like 39% from the field. They shot 32% from three. The Knicks shot a better percentage than them. They had 21 turnovers last night. The Knicks only had like 17. They got out-rebounded last night. Even though it's just one rebound, they still got out-rebounded. So for them to win a game like this, it's like, okay, it's a good rallying point, guys. We're turning the corner. We're this, that, and the third. Out of all the starters, there were only two starters that were positive and plus minus. LeBron was +2. J.R. Smith was +6. So that just shows you how they're just not that good of a team. And what really killed me is the fact that LeBron James, he's taking shots at Phil Jackson, which is underhandedly taking shots at the New York Knicks organization. The Phil Jackson debacle, that's over and done with. There's no need to keep bringing it up. It's not like you're talking to him directly. You could have said all this stuff last week or the week before last. You come into New York and they ask you questions and you keep throwing these little underhanded shots. You're telling the organization who they should have drafted. And then you have the gall to go into the Garden, start the game 3 quarters, play like shit. The whole team plays like crap. And it's just like, where are you coming from with all this? Like, I thought when LeBron James was talking all this crap in the media, I thought he was going to come in, wreck shop, drop 30 by the first half. Team was struggling, everybody's struggling. Fourth quarter, they rallied. And it's just like, you can't talk so much smack and barely eke out a win against a team that's not even considered like a good team. The Knicks are considered a rebuilding team. So you shouldn't come in there and struggle at all whatsoever, especially if you're talking smack. He's calling out Cantor for Cantor's comments. He's calling out Phil Jackson. He's calling out the guys for not drafting Dennis Smith Jr. It's just like, all of this discord that he was creating, I thought it was gonna be a perfect storm for him to have a big game. Everybody was calling for LeBron to have a huge game. He had a solid game, but it wasn't like the game that everybody was expecting, and nobody was expecting him to go down 17 points, 18 points. Like, this is ridiculous with the Cavs. You're watching essentially a soap opera, and this victory is just adding to the soap opera because the next day or whatever the case is, they're all going to be feeling good about themselves, feeling themselves. Then they're going to go play a team that has just a little bit more firepower than the Knicks, a little bit more savvy than the Knicks, a little bit more players than Kristaps Porzingis than the Knicks, and they're going to lose. And then it's going to be back to the drawing board. You know, we can't figure this out. We're working hard. This, that, and the third. XYZ guys got to step up. The Cavs have a consistent problem. They're old. They can't get off the board early, and they don't defend very well. They don't defend very well. The only reason they won the game is because they outscored the Knicks. They outscored the Knicks by 18 points. 43 and a quarter, which is amazing, which is crazy. But at the end of the day, you can't think you're going to outscore every single team that you play. And you can't expect to walk in and waltz in there and think teams are going to lay down. With the Cavs, teams smell blood in the water. They're like, okay, this team is like this is a good team. They're like supposed to be the favorites in the East. But right now, they're not playing. They're a bad team. So we're going to go ahead and try to compete as hard as we can, because we know if we compete as hard as we can beat these guys. That's the sick part. Teams know they don't have as much talent, but to them, it's like if we compete as hard as we possibly can, then we can win the game. And a team should never think that. A team, if you're a championship caliber team, they need to think that they need to get lucky. You know, they need to cut down their turnover. They shouldn't think that we can play harder than you. Like, that's not something that a team should think about. A team that went to 3 straight finals, because championship pedigree, there's nothing playing harder than that. So if a team that never been to the finals, you know, hasn't been to the finals in a long time, or has C-list guys on their team, and you know, in the NBA, every team has professionals, I understand. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are supposed to be a championship team. If they're a championship team, teams should not think that we can out-hustle you into a win. Because you have the savvy, you have the players, you have everything that you need to dismantle teams. And to me, it would be better if they lost this game. Because at least then they could go and say, we need to correct this, we need to correct that, we need to correct this. This game, the guys are just basically saying like, yeah, you know, we just need to up our energy. That's it. Like, the rotations were horrible. Your whole starting 5 got benched. In the third quarter, Tyronn Lue waved the flag. He waved the flag. He was like, you know, it's a wrap. But then the bench guys kind of kicked it up a notch. You know, I'm pretty sure Tyronn Lue was going to let them sit the rest of the game. But the fact that they cut it down to 4 a little bit, and they got some momentum, got some energy, that's what caused them to bring back LeBron and the starters. But for Kyle Korver to be a saving grace, it's crazy. Like, all teams have to do is basically switch on Kyle Korver and deny him the pass. If they deny him the pass, that's it. It's a wrap. You don't win the game. And if that's going to be your formula going forward, get Kyle Korver open to win games, that's ridiculous. It's just utterly ridiculous. I can't believe the way that they played, especially after all that smack talking LeBron James was doing. I just don't understand this. And this is like, you know, everybody's like, Isaiah Thomas is coming back. You can't judge him until Isaiah Thomas comes back. There are a lot of things that are going on with the Cavs have nothing to do with Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is not a great defender. He's not going to plug that hole for you guys. He's not going to stop all the turnovers that you guys are committing. You know, and another thing is, Isaiah Thomas, when he comes back, he's not going to play point guard. LeBron James is essentially going to still play the point guard like how he did with Kyrie Irving. So, with LeBron's high turnover rate, with Isaiah Thomas's lack of efficiency, and the fact that we don't know how Tristan Thompson is going to come back from that whole calf injury, that says a lot about the team. But this is not an Isaiah Thomas thing. This is effort. This is intensity. This is respecting your opponents when you step on the floor. The Cavs don't respect any of their opponents. If it's not like Golden State, San Antonio, these guys are just like waltz into the games, and they're building bad habits now. So they think they're just gonna flick a switch. I don't think you're gonna flick a switch with 7 new guys on your roster. You know what I'm saying? You could probably sweep through the first round. That's about it. Because the way that I see the NBA landscape, especially in the Eastern Conference, the Bucks got better, Boston got better. Even though they have all these injuries, the way that they're playing, the win streak, they got better. The Wizards are no scrubs. See what I'm saying? And it took a big 57-point game for LeBron James and the Cavs to get over them. And everybody tends to forget. Wizards shot 60-something% in the first half, 50% for the entire game. The Cavaliers are allowing teams to score way too many points, and they just think they can outscore everybody. And they basically lost their identity. They used to be a hard-nosed defensive team, shoot threes, could be able to post you up, get you in foul trouble. They just completely lost their identity. They're trying to turn themselves into a finesse team, and they don't have a lot of finesse players. So this is critical for them now to fix now, to build good habits now. But I don't see where they're gonna do it, because they think the East is a joke, and I think they're gonna think it's a joke until they're tied in a 2-2 series, or maybe they go down a 2-1 in the series, and then they're like, okay, the things that we were doing in October, November, December, that's now catching up to us. But all this stuff about we can't judge them till Isaiah Thomas comes back, Isaiah Thomas has nothing to do with this, because the team can score. They score 43 in a quarter. They can't defend. They're poor rebounding, and they're just, the effort is not there. The effort is not there. I don't know what it is. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like Cavs fans, I think that you need to prepare yourself in terms of the playoffs for a lot of adversity, because the East is not as a cakewalk as I thought it would be, especially with the transition of the Bucks, with the emergence of the Celtics, the re-emergence of the Celtics. Last year they were a good team, but now it looks like they're even better than last year. And then you have the Wizards. If the Cavs get in a bracket where they have to face those teams like back to back to back to back, we could be looking at something here that's not really good for them. This is Vladimir Hoops Junction, Hoops meets Hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care.